fans of my writing. Tonight I'm going to do a special story. It's a Ben and Tony Bear story, and this one goes out for Julie and her daughter Amelia. And this is about Ben and Tony Bear. And this also goes out for everyone out there, every parent that is also looking for a diagnosis for their little ones that they know are not right. And it's all luck to him. It's Ben and Tony Bear Stories, Book 5. Ben gets his diagnosis. Now Tony Bear knew that Ben was not like other children. Ben could not talk, and he did not eat a lot. When Tony Bear was out with Ben, he heard other children calling out to each other and talking and laughing. Ben did not say a word, and he only laughed when he found something funny on his computer or when he was tickled. Mummy took Ben to see the doctor several times. She spoke to the health visitor and anyone who would listen. A lot of the time it felt as if no one was listening, but they were. Finally, Mummy managed to get the health visitor to come and see Ben eat. The health visitor came and watched Ben eat and saw him at home. The health visitor saw that Ben was refusing to eat. She saw that he did not even notice that anyone was in the room with him, and he did not turn when he was called. The health visitor went back and told the doctors. They called Mummy, and in the end they sent Ben for some tests. Tony Bear was a little worried. He did not want anything to be wrong with his friend, but he knew in his little fluffy heart that something was wrong. Mummy and Ben went to see a special doctor, a paediatrician, a children doctor to you and me, but one that dealt with certain problems. He examined Ben and watched him. He called to him and tried to get him to play with him. Ben did not respond a lot. He would not even look at the doctor. And all he was interested in doing was chewing on his cars that he had brought with him. I am going to send Ben for some special tests. They will all be in one day and in one place, said the doctor. How long will they take? Asked Mummy. Not long. About an hour or 2 hours, said the doctor. Mummy looked at Ben. All right, said Mummy. The doctor arranged for the tests. Mummy did not know what was going to happen. She was worried in case Ben got upset or had to have blood taken. Don't worry, said the doctor. There is no blood taken and no harm will come to Ben. Several weeks passed and Mummy heard nothing. Then one morning a brown envelope arrived. Ben's appointment was at the end of the week. With the letter were some rules that Mummy had to stick to. Mummy was not allowed to talk in the room unless spoken to, and also Mummy was not allowed to play or go near Ben in the room. Well, Mummy could do that. The day of the appointment arrived. A lady came and called Mummy and Ben out of the waiting room. The lady led them into a room with some toys on the floor. Another lady sat in a chair near them with a big notepad on her lap. Mummy was pointed to the chair in the corner. The ladies introduced themselves. They were both doctors. Mummy was reminded of the rules, and at no time was she to speak unless spoken to. Mummy understood. One of the doctors sat on the floor with a tea set in front of her and tried for 10 minutes to get Ben to play pretend tea parties. Ben did not respond. He stood in the corner with Tony Bear, looking at the letters on a sign on the wall. The doctor asked to see Tony, and Ben let him slip from his hand, but he did not look at the doctor or make a noise. "What is the bear's name, Mummy?" "His name is Tony." "Ben, would you like to come and have a tea with Tony and me?" asked the doctor. Ben did not say a word. He walked over and took Tony from the doctor and went and picked up a book. Tony was happy that Ben had taken him from the doctor. He was not interested in having tea either. Ben opened the book. Ben took the book to the doctor. The doctor started to read the story from the beginning. Ben took the book from the doctor, then handed it back to her. He pointed to the publisher's logo. The doctor told him what it said. Ben did this several times. Then the other lady doctor took some little cars out and started running them up and down, making car noises. Ben got really upset. He did not like noises being made for things. He cried and held Tony Bear over his ears. The lady stopped and got up off the floor. Ben stopped crying. He went over to the cars and lined them up, one next to the other, and then he looked at them. The doctor took one away. Ben reached out and took it back and placed it in the same place it had been. Then he picked it up again and put it in his mouth. "Does he do that often, line things up?" asked the doctor of Mummy. "Yes," said Mummy. "It's mainly cars, but he does DVDs and CDs too, and books." The doctor wrote it down in a big notepad. Ben noticed the doctor's watch hanging from her top. Ben lifted it up and looked at it. It was very shiny. The doctor unpinned it from her top and put it to Ben's ear. At first he pulled away. "Listen," said the doctor, putting the watch near her own ear. Then she tried again. Ben let her put the watch near his ear. He listened. The watch was ticking. Ben smiled and listened again and again. Then he walked away. He came back a few seconds later and grabbed the doctor's hand. Ben pulled her hand towards the wall. The doctor did not move. "What do you want, Ben?" the doctor asked. Ben pulled her again, but did not speak a word. "What does he want, Mummy?" "He wants you to follow him." The doctor stood up again and followed Ben. Ben took her to the notice board. There were lots of posters with logos on it. Ben pulled the doctor's arms down to him. "What does he want now?" "He wants you to pick him up," said Mummy. The doctor bent down and picked up Ben and Tony Bear. Ben pointed to the logo in the corner of the letter. The doctor read it to him. Ben pointed to every one along the board. They were all of the same. "Does he do that a lot too?" asked the other lady. "Yes," said Mummy. "Whenever he sees logos, he wants to know what they say." The doctors asked several other questions too. They asked what Ben was like near roads. They asked if he knew what a stranger was. Hot and cold. Was he aware of this? What were his likes and dislikes? Did he ever talk or make noises? Mummy answered every question they asked, and Tony listened intently. "Well, that is the test over," said the doctors after 2 hours. "We will send our findings to the paediatrician, and he will call you for an appointment." The doctors would say nothing more. They had to look over their notes, and Mummy could only wait. Mummy took Ben and Tony home. Life went on for several weeks. Then another letter arrived. It was an appointment for the paediatrician. Mummy was going to find out what was wrong with Ben. Mummy and Ben went to see the paediatrician. Mummy sat down while Ben dropped Tony on the floor and played at lining up the cars. The doctor took a deep breath. Mummy braced herself. Ben has autism. He is high functioning, which means he is very smart, but he has a lot of sensory problems, like touching, tasting and hearing, among other things. Ben is not like other children. He probably never will be. Mummy's heart dropped. Mummy shook the doctor's hand and said goodbye. Mummy cried for several days. The little boy that she had dreamed of was never going to be. Her little boy was only partly there. Tony met with the other toys. He was very sad too. The little boy he had hoped to play with and have great adventures with was not to be. "It's all right, Tony," said Mumpy, putting his arm around Tony. "You and Ben will have other types of adventures. You still love him, and he still takes you everywhere, so he must love you very much." Tony wiped the tears from his eyes. Mumpy was right. Diagnosis did not change anything between them. It was just a name for what was wrong with Ben. Tony was glad he knew. And so was Mummy. At least now they could work towards making Ben's life better. And Ben's life did get better. Okay, thank you for watching, and I hope everyone out there that is looking for a diagnosis for their little one that is not quite right gets their diagnosis. And good luck. Thank you, good night, and God bless to all of you. And Tony Bear says good night too. Wave, Tony. Good night.